Konami Studios.
So, in a long-running tradition of stuff we've seen from Disney recently, an old property got a remake. Look, Maleficent did good numbers, The Jungle Book, that crap, all those things. They're doing good numbers, right? People seem to like those. So it makes sense. Who do we do next? Who's our next big character to push to get their own spin-off or prequel or live-action reboot? Of course, you know that woman that wanted to kill the puppies. That makes sense. Cruella got a movie. And I said it a couple months ago when I did my most anticipated for 2021. I'm on board for this. Look, if you want to give me some Euro grunge, early 70s vibes with the big fashion scene in London, and it's going to be focusing on this weird side of the aesthetic, and it's just going to look like this really dirty movie about a character trying to rise up in the fashion world, you got me sold. That's right up my alley. That's exactly what I want from a property, and the fact that it's a Disney movie makes me go, okay, you're going to play a lot of the outfits more than you are with the dirty nature, and that's fine. So we got a Cruella movie, and I am very excited to say it's good. It is actually a really well put together movie. It doesn't take any story beats from the original 101 Dalmatians storyline. This is strictly about Cruella. There are characters and moments that emulate what you've seen in those other movies, but this is strictly its own thing. It's not trying to be a prequel. It's not trying to homage it. It's just the character, she hates Dalmatians. Why does she hate Dalmatians? You'll learn why in here. Does she like fashion? Of course she does. Follow the story of a girl liking fashion. It's really well done. The set production, just the stylization of the sets and everything about that, it looks really good. It's classic Disney, of course. They really know how to make a great set and build some great designs, and I gotta commend them for just making some really fantastic costumes in this, the dresses and the outfits that Cruella and other characters wear. It's really good. If it doesn't win the Oscar, I will be surprised, just because there is so much about fashion that I just love to see built up in a story like this, and when you make that the driving focus, you can really go crazy with some of the designs, and they really go for it, which I enjoy seeing that. And I think it works really well for the narrative. Just seeing some great fashion. That's what I want. I'm that kind of guy. I like, if you're focusing on a story about fashion, give me some outlandish, over-the-top fashion that I believe, for the time period, people would be interested in seeing. That's what this movie did. So I can't be upset about that. It just looked really good in that aspect. Surprisingly, the cinematography did some interesting tricks that I wasn't expecting from a Disney movie. Normally, Disney is very easy in how it presents its cinematography or its camera work, which I'm not complaining, because it's still good stuff and there's still some genuine heart put into that. But there's some really good moments just in terms of the way a shot is framed and the way the camera moves in that, and just the way the lighting works. Everything about the cinematography in this surprised me in a way I wasn't expecting from a Disney movie, which is cool to see. Now let's talk about the main girl herself, Cruella de Vil. This is Emma Stone. Just weird choice. I was like, okay, Emma Stone, Cruella de Vil, perfect. Can she do the accent? Kinda. There are moments where she's talking where it's kind of spotty, but that's not a bad thing. She's putting on a persona throughout the entire movie anyway, so if the persona is kind of fading through at times, I'm not going to complain. I think she did a good job of what she was given. It was very in character. It was very perfectly that time period of that person coming up trying to be the, ooh, look at me, I'm so great at everything. I would have liked to see her smoke. I understand it's 2021 and Disney's a little more strict on some of those things. I get that. It would have been nice, but I'm not going to complain it didn't happen, because it wasn't really needed. It just would have added something, just that extra bit that she needed to get there. And I'm not saying she didn't get there, because she did. There were certain just elements and story beats of that character that I'm like, that is a bold choice you made. Her origin, I'm just that's bold. Not something I would have particularly went for, but hey, good for you. You made it work somehow. That's kind of impressive. And just the way she comes up in the fashion world, and who she's working under, this Baroness by Emma Thompson, who crushes it. Emma Thompson, she can do no wrong. That woman is a goddess, and she's just proven herself time and time again to understand the assignment. When people are they understand the assignment, those memes going around, Emma Stone and Emma Thompson understand the assignment. They both went hard on this movie. It was great. We got Jasper and Horace too, those characters. And I'm like, hey, you made them exactly like they are in the cartoon, and they actually feel realistic for this world. That's kind of exciting to see. I'm like, that is really cool. You got some dogs in here, and at times, of course, the dogs are really weird CG, but it looks good. I'm not gonna complain. Just like, it's just like, you know, those moments in any movie when the animal is completely CG, it's just because it moves in a way that's not normally the way an actual animal would move in that regard. Whatever, I can get past it. I'm just blown away by the fashion statements that this story is making, the way it presents itself. If I have one big complaint, it's that I wanted it to be more grungy, because that's the way it presented itself. When watching those early trailers, I'm like, oh, this is kind of being like a stylized Train Spotting. Obviously not like, you know, sex and drugs and murder and stuff, just like, hey, it's dirty, it's like the underground city, and like this dark mysterious figure rising up to like the height of fashion at that time period. There's that in there, but there's only like select moments where I'm like, this is like the grungy dirty era, like the Eurovision era, where it's just like, yeah, look at how dark and punk we are. I wanted more punk. I really did. I'm a punk guy. If you can't tell from the Muppets hat and the Irish flag on my t-shirt, I'm a punk guy. So I wanted more of that. That's my biggest criticism, and that's not even a big one, because the story presented kept me engaged throughout the entirety. I had a smile on my face the whole time, which I think is kind of rare, especially when you are doing like an old property like this. Like when I've watched like things like Mulan, The Jungle Book. I like The Jungle Book, actually. The Lion King, Aladdin. There was good moments, but I never just like was super into it the whole time. But this one, I'm like, this is right up my alley. You are doing something genuinely interesting in this story, and I really, really like that. So I was just impressed with what this presented and how it delivered on its story. And my goodness, there is some kick-ass music in this. I was genuinely surprised the way they were like, okay, we're using at least a whole soundtrack. You can definitely release an album based on the amount of music used in this, and it's all bangers, man. Every song, every cover they did, it's good. It is really well done. It just looked beautiful with that gorgeous set and those stunning costumes. It was a really well-made movie, and I think that is surprising, especially when people are like, this is going to be Disney's attempt at a Joker. It's not. This is taking a character who we made a villain in earlier productions and saying like, hey, maybe there's more to her than meets the eye. We're not going to turn her into the villain in this. We're going to turn her into the tragic hero trying to strike out and become this thing that we know her to become. And maybe then if we get a sequel, she'll become evil and lose something. But if not, we got a great story with a Cruella de Vil that works really well. And this movie just was surprising, and I think that's something I was looking forward to. I was always looking forward to this, just the punky, grungy, European style of what this is, and the 70s fashion scene. You nailed it. You knocked it out of the park. Give me more stuff like this. I was trying to think of like a property Disney could do that is similar to this one. I don't know. If you did an Aristocats in this style, I'd be on board. I would totally be on board for that. It's great. Watch Cruella. I think it's worth the premiere access on Disney+. I really do. So Cruella, I am going to give a 9 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck, darlings.